Welcome to Boost 2020. We are so excited to have you all to join us for our 9th annual Boost event. My name is Taylor Bradshaw and I will be your Dell MC for this year's event. Why am I here? Because I care deeply about the environment and I know it's up to all of us to ensure a sustainable future and a healthy Mother Earth. Why am I out here in the woods, you asked? Well, first, because I'm Michigan, and two, because Delta sponsors organizations directly in the Midwest, so I thought it would be great to be out in the northern Midwest. We know things look a little different this year, and we're so glad you all took time out of your days to join us. And boy, you will not be disappointed. We have some amazing finalists who are ready to pitch their incredible and sustainable organizations this evening. But before we begin, we want to give all our viewers a little background on the Dells and this amazing event. So first off, for those who are not familiar, or maybe you haven't attended in the past, or maybe you have and you're not sure what Boost was again, Boost is hosted annually by the Delta Emerging Leaders, better known as the Dell, which I'm a part of. Our Dells work in a variety of sectors by day, but come together as volunteers to promote environmental causes in Chicago as the Associate Board of Delta Institute. This event, Boost, actually stands for Building Opportunities for Original and Sustainable Thinking. Pretty cool, right? Well, tonight's event will feature a pitch competition from environmental entrepreneurs in the Midwest, and for the first time ever, we've been able to expand our reach outside the Chicago community and have representation across the Midwest, which is pretty great. Boost creates a platform for entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas to an audience that determines their fate. Once you've watched, you have the power to vote which lucky recipient will receive $5,000 from the Delta Institute to boost their impact. The Dells received many applications for Boost this year, and we have carefully selected 4 finalists based on criteria including their business model, scale of impact, use for the money, and how the project will contribute to sustainability in the Midwest. We hope you enjoy the show, and don't forget to vote for one of our finalists to be the Boost 2020 winner. Directions on how to vote will be provided at the end of the pitches, so make sure you watch that. Before we get this party started, though, the CEO of Delta Institute, Bill Schleiser, would like to say a few words.
Hi, and welcome to Delta Institute's 9th annual Boost. I'm Bill Schleiser, Delta Institute's CEO, and I'm here to thank you for participating with us virtually in this first time that we've had to do it this way. It's definitely been an interesting 2020, but I have to say Delta Emerging Leaders have done a remarkable job in turning this from a live pitch fest into one that's 100% fully virtual. You know, we've had to be resilient and innovative throughout 2020, and that continues, and kudos to everybody to making this happen. It's allowed us to expand from just Chicago entrepreneurs to entrepreneurs that are trying to find new sustainable solutions throughout the Midwest. And before we hear about those finalists, I just want to take a couple minutes to talk to you about Delta Institute. Delta is a nonprofit organization based here in Chicago that works throughout the Midwest directly with communities to collaborate on solving complex environmental challenges. We envision a region where all landscapes and communities can thrive. And we do that through a whole variety of projects and initiatives and partnerships because we have such a wide-ranging set of challenges in front of us. And I think we've experienced that more this year than in any other year. And our diverse portfolio ranges from working on land conservation and stewardship to climate change, smart regenerative food systems, community resilience, waste reduction and reuse, stormwater infrastructure, and really working on making our built environment more sustainable overall. And I encourage all of you to go to our website or follow us on social media to see what else we've been up to. You can go directly to www.delta-institute.org. And we got a whole bunch of information, tools, resources, things that can help you make your communities more sustainable or learn more about these diverse topics that we work on. And then you can follow us across all the social media platforms, the Twitters, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And maybe we'll get a TikTok sometime soon, I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody really wants to see that happen, but you know, it's 2020, can't say no to anything like that. Now, before we go into the finalists, I do want to take some time out to thank all of the sponsors who've helped make this virtual event happen. This is our flagship event for the Delta Emerging Leaders, and without our sponsors, it really wouldn't come to fruition. So thank you to our platinum sponsors, People's Gas and RW Ventures, our gold sponsors, Carbon Yield, Nancy Garoon-Legner, and the Walter S. Mander Foundation. You guys are fantastic. Also, we've got 8 Rivers, Chicago Leadership Alliance, Loyola University Chicago School of Environmental Sustainability, and Wolf Computer Associates, who are all of our blue sponsors this year. Thanks again. And also, I gotta give it to the board. The Delta Emerging Leaders this year have really put on a fantastic event. I can't wait for you to meet the finalists. But before we do that, we've got some special messages from last year's finalists and winners. So let's hear some updates from the winners, Janice Newsom from Lillian, Augusta, and Dane Christensen of Block Bins.
I've been wearing box braids for as long as I can remember. Every time my mom would braid my hair, I looked forward to the cute style, but not the burning and itching. I thought that I was doing something wrong. I tried moisturizing, looser braids, and expensive products, but little did I know that the cause of my discomfort was synthetic braiding hair. This is why we started Lillian Augusta, a plant-based braiding hair company making hair for Black women and by Black women. Our plant-based braiding hair will have the same qualities you enjoy about braiding hair without the heavy plastic, toxins, or pollutants. Join us on this journey for hair without harm.
Hi, my name is Janice Newsom, and I'm the co-founder of Lillian Augusta, where we are revolutionizing the Black hair care industry by offering hair without harm. Now, I vividly remember the first time I wore braids because I could feel the problem. My scalp was itchy, my skin started to break out, and my neck was sore from the heaviness of the braids. I always thought, well, maybe the problem's just me. But the problem is actually the hair. Synthetic braiding hair is made from chemical-laden plastics. It's potentially cancerous material and causes the discomfort that I and many other Black women experience when wearing braids. And this plastic hair is contributing to the ongoing issue of plastic pollution. This discomfort and waste should not have to happen, and it won't thanks to our solution of hair made by Black women and for Black women. We are changing the experience of wearing braids by making hair made with your well-being and sustainability in mind. Our plant-based braiding hair is lightweight, toxin-free, and makes for a much more comfortable experience when wearing braids. Participating in the Delta Institute Emerging Leaders Boost Contest was a pivotal moment for Lillian Augusta. This was our first significant amount of funding and allowed us to start experimentation on making our plant-based braiding hair. Several months after the competition, we were able to make some plant-based braiding hair prototypes. Today, we're preparing for our launch in 2021 and talking to a number of natural fiber manufacturers on scaling up production of plant-based braiding hair. Thank you so much to the Delta Institute for investing in our business, and good luck to all the contestants in this year's competition. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dane Christensen. I'm the founder of Block Bins LLC, which provides food scrap recycling bins to Chicago residents. Block Bins won the Delta Emerging Leaders Boost Grant in 2019, and thanks to the grant money, we were able to purchase 200 new compost bins. This has provided compost access to over 500 Chicagoans. And with the new revenue this has brought in, we were even able to buy our own compost collection vehicle, which has vastly improved our service. I want to thank the Delta Emerging Leaders for their support of Block Bins, and we look forward to continuing to be Chicago's compost solution in the coming year. Thank you. Let me show you quickly how Block Bins works. This building behind me is a big apartment complex. Somebody in this building has requested a block bin for their residents so that they can come and drop off their food scrap. So what I've done is I drive here in my truck, I've got bins in the back, and I've now dropped off a bin right here for this building to use. Anybody who wants to start composting using this bin out here in this alley can go to our website, find the location of this bin on our map, which is on our homepage, and once they sign up, they get the combination to this lock right here. You pop open the lock, and we put bags over our lock in wintertime so that they don't freeze, and now you can access our composting service. One exciting development at Block Bins this year is that with all of these new bins that we've placed, it's actually justified the purchase of our very own compost collection truck. I've actually installed my very own power washer in here so that we can keep the bins cleaner. This truck also allows us to service higher volume bins with more participants, spreading compost to more Chicagoans.
For the first of our 4 finalists, we have Yolanda and Aisha with the Chicago Environmental Educators Incorporated. This group works to support the integration of environmental justice with environmental science teaching for educators across Chicago classrooms. By applying to Boost, Chicago environmental educators are looking to strengthen growing networks of educators and to provide them with tangible resources without barriers. Take a look.
Yeah, so you're the one who was in the
Did you guys enjoy our introduction video? Well, we know you did because we're Chicago environmental educators. And first of all, we want to thank you for having us as one of the 4 finalists for Delta Emerging Leaders. But we also wanted to give a shout out to the other finalists because you guys are doing a great job. And we're super excited to see what you guys have for us today.
So what is the mission for Chicago environmental educators? Our goal is to create a supportive network for Chicago educators who teach environmental science or topics within environmental science in the formal and informal classroom.
We also support BIPOC educators and create an enriching community to address environmental justice issues in the Chicagoland area. And to your right, you will see a map for those that do not live in Chicago or the surrounding areas to have an idea of what it looks like.
And BIPOC means Black, Indigenous, people of color, or queer. My name is Aisha Kazi.
And my name is Yolanda Wilhite.
And so a little bit about me. I am a doctoral student at UIC. I study environmental education. I'm a CPS teacher. I teach AP environmental science, and I'm also a science and education associate at the Field Museum. As an American, Afghan, Pakistani educator and scientist, I feel like we all work in various silos and there's not much of a network or community that connects us and our experiences together. And so myself and Yolanda, as co-founders of CEE, we found a way to create a network that's ongoing, that doesn't expire, and it's there for anyone who wants to be there to grow and learn from each other.
Like what Aisha said, I myself also identify as a double minority, African-American and female. My name is Yolanda Wilhite. I work at the Field Museum, and Aisha and I actually founded CEE at the Field Museum based on wanting to dismantle barriers for people of color, and it comes to underrepresented and underserved communities to receive scientific and environmental needs.
And so some of the events that we've done this past year includes collaborating with various community organizations. That includes the American Indian Center, the Shedd Aquarium, University of Illinois at Chicago, Little Village Environmental Justice Organization, El Vejo, Open Lands, and other political leaders.
We've also connected more on a local level. We have worked with We Keep You Rolling, which is a Far South Side community organization. We've also done members nights where we have anybody, formal, informal teachers that come in and do community check-ins with us to learn who's all in the area and who's doing what. And this year, we've also started a book club. The book that we just finished reading was from an Indigenous perspective.
And so some of our short-term goals includes trying to do community events with local community organizations and hosting workshops that focus from marginalized lens, including Black, Asian, LGBTQ lens, since we've already done 2 workshops focusing on Native and Latinx lens.
And for the long term, we're looking at intergenerational and also interracial summer program with collaboration with community organizations and institutions. And these programs will not only bring out young adults, high school and up, as well as the community and teachers that are interested in participating to learn more about environmental education and science.
And so what does supporting CE mean? Well, a lot of the funds, because we don't charge anyone to be part of this network, tends to fall on myself and Yolanda to cover. And so any sort of support is going to help cover organizational fees to eliminate program cost for program participants.
CE is also a major push for underrepresented community-based employees to receive stipends. And we also believe that providing monetary incentive for underpaid teachers and nonprofit employees will help to continue professional development so they can take those resources back to their communities and to their students. Those resources that they potentially can receive are scientific resources. The funding will also help us to provide these science-based materials for teacher and student utilization.
Help our community support our goal to bring opportunities to BIPOC educators.
Vote CEE, Chicago Environmental Educators. You have the opportunity now to dismantle barriers for teachers, informal and formal, to receive scientific resources.
Next up, we have Sunny with Dynamhex Incorporated. This business seeks to identify a community's carbon footprint with solutions to reduce emissions over time. By applying to Boost, Dynamhex seeks to deploy a climate action plan in a Midwestern community where all residents are engaged in solutions. So this could be your community. Go ahead and take a look.
Hello everyone, my name is Sunny Sanwar. I'm the founder and CEO of Dynamhex, a minority-owned climate action company. We help communities across the US both plan for, implement, and track progress on climate change, particularly meeting climate targets represented by the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Originally, I'm from Bangladesh, a country that is currently struggling with sea level rise from climate change. So it's something that's very near and dear to me, and something that drives me every day to figure out solutions for and help communities plan for this possibility. You know, around the US and broadly communities across the world, climate change has rippling effects on communities' health. Social equities is an important entity. However, emissions are invisible, and we don't know where they're coming from, and it hampers our ability to understand what we should do as a result. At Dynamhex, that's been our number one goal. We help visualize every pound and tonnage of different types of emissions that come in any neighborhood or come from any community anywhere in the US. With Dynamhex, different individuals and groups in any community that want to collaborate in drawing down these invisible emissions that we visualize can now come together in a collaborative platform to understand which projects need to be implemented and where. About the Chicago communities, each resident, each individual, each school, each building can now understand where the emissions for their communities are coming from and what it is that they can do in order to reduce their footprint. Solution providers, such as the great solution providers you will hear from today, can suggest their solutions on the platform so that people in the community could implement those solutions or help support those implementations. We gather data from various different sources, mostly city and county tax rolls and different models developed by the United States Department of Energy and the Environmental Protection Agency, and we make it specific to that specific community. Thereby, we measure bottom-up emissions that is trackable at the very granular level. And closer, each of the buildings you could hover over and understand what the footprint is for that building or set of buildings, and look at different options that are available for that building and site specifically to measurably reduce their emissions. Each reduction methodology or each solution has its own details, and you can track them over time, you can suggest them, share them, and support them. We are layering community-specific measures such as conservation of energy or energy efficiency, reduction of waste, and any low-carbon, low-emission project that you can think of with a measurable focus on impact, where we hard-code climate hope. With Dynamhex, any community can now turn code into local policy. In the Midwest, we've done some great work with Kansas, Missouri, and elsewhere, which we've been part of citywide resolutions that we are the tool and methodology of choice to reduce community-wide emissions. We've been very lucky to be selected by Exelon Corporation here in Chicago for their inaugural 2C2Y program, which is the Climate Change Investment Initiative. And not just the technology, which is geared to solving social equity issues. Internally at Dynamhex, we are very cognizant of our role in helping different disadvantaged and disenfranchised groups to take the lead on this. Imagine a world where now, for every community, you can understand what it is that you need to do. You can understand where to put in the efforts, and thereby you can get to impact a lot quicker with the help of your collaborators and community members, and deploying the right solutions at the right time. With Dynamhex, that's exactly what you can do. With the Delta Boost Award, we want to empower a Chicagoland community of 5,000 individuals or under. It could be a small town, it could be a zip code, it could be a local neighborhood. We want to empower them and give access to the tool so they have the ability to understand their community level impact, so they could garner attention around the issue. They can educate people who are consuming different products and services, but also be the solution providers that deploy such products and services, such as the one you'll hear from today. My name is Sunny Sanwar with Dynamhex. Thank you very much.
On behalf of Delta Institute, the Delta Emerging Leaders, and green entrepreneurs everywhere, we would like to thank the sponsors of this year's Boost event for their support. It is quite likely that you or someone you know live, work, or pass through a community that Delta has helped since our founding in 1998. Boost sponsors understand that taking action now is not only a pressing climate change issue, but also an issue of equity and environmental justice. Thank you to our platinum sponsors, People's Gas and RW Ventures. Thank you also to our gold sponsors, Carbon Yield, Nancy Gruen-Leigner, and the Walter S. Mander Foundation. And to our blue sponsors, 8 Rivers, Chicago Leadership Alliance, Loyola University Chicago School of Environmental Sustainability, and Wolf Computer Associates. We sincerely appreciate the generosity of these sponsors in support of Boost and Delta Institute's mission.
Next up, we have Joanne with Mycocycle. Mycocycle uses regenerative processes utilizing fungi called mycoremediation to divert waste from landfills for reuse by removing harmful toxins out of our waste streams. It's pretty cool. By applying to Boost, Mycocycle aims to analyze and report scientific results on soil treatments in the Chicago regions. Take a look.
All of our asphalt waste goes to the dump. It takes time and money to haul it there, and it isn't sustainable. We want to reduce our footprint and develop an opportunity to do something different with our waste.
Mycocycle exists to transform trash to treasure. We're using the power of mushrooms to clean up the messes that we've made. There are so many materials that we can address through mycoremediation that are hitting landfill currently. We see the opportunity to create a value stream and then re-enter it into manufacturing to make a usable byproduct.
One of the most important roles that fungi fulfill in the environment is as decomposers. They're really nature's greatest chemists on so many fronts, and especially in the way that they're able to uniquely break down some of the most complex chemicals of the natural world, as well as some of the most complex toxins that humans have invented.
Not everybody can have an effect on all parts of their own supply chain, so it's really important to have businesses like Mycocycle that are taking a look at these problems that in a way are being created by these other industries and finding ways to help those industries out.
If Mycocycle is successful, we probably shouldn't see a single second of it. Like the idea that mycelium recycles materials for us should just happen in the background while we go along our daily lives. And that's kind of the key to sustainable efforts and solving a global warming crisis, is making it easy for people to understand how to contribute.
I'm Joanne Rodriguez, founder of Mycocycle. For 30 years, I've worked in the construction products manufacturing space, and I've been a longtime sustainability leader. having worked with clients from coast to coast on trying to reduce their waste and lessen their greenhouse gases, I quickly learned that the materials that we manufactured and that our industry manufactured were toxic to the environment. Because the construction materials use largely oil and petrochemical derivatives as the basis of their performance, much of them contain heavy metals and carcinogens. And up until now, these materials were landfilled or burned, contributing to air and water pollution, and as a result to long-term environmental and health issues. So in 2018, I decided there had to be a more sustainable path forward. And I started collaborating with mycologist Peter McCoy. We developed a patent pending process training fungi. Yep, we train mushrooms to eat asphalt and clean toxins out of waste. It's about as simple as that. And we were very excited about the test results, about the opportunity to not only treat toxins out of waste to de-risk it, but to create new materials. And so IKEA, most notably, is using mushroom-based packaging 100%. They use mycelium as a replacement for plastic because it's biodegradable. And there are other companies that are using mycelium in replacement for plastic because they also see the beneficial use of that. And so we have an opportunity to go circular in the process. And as a result, we've gained a lot of recognition and validation from the United Nations, the National Renewable Energy Labs, but also Fast Company, which was super cool. And this summer, we won a grant from the Clean Tech Open National Accelerator around a pivot related to business disruption during COVID. And what resulted is us developing a new treatment protocol considering ex situ soil remediation. So the mycological remediation of soil and waste. And so really got me thinking about the grassroots efforts and the need to try to support mycological remediation in communities. So we would like, with the Boost grant, to be able to get the results of our ex situ bench testing out into the field, lend mycological support and education, raise an awareness about not only the issue, but the opportunity to clean up these areas using nature. And we'd like to do that side by side with the advocacy groups that are already embedded in these communities. And the overall intent would be to improve human and environmental health. And so how could you help us? By voting. Go to mycocycle.com and subscribe, and also follow us on Twitter at Mycocycle for updates. Most importantly, though, continue to support organizations like the Delta Institute. Their work is critical for the environmental health of the Midwest ecosystem. So thank you for the Dells for hosting Boost 2020. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to present here, and we hope that you will support Mycocycle in our pursuits to clean up trash and create treasure.
For our last finalist, we have Gavi and Remy with Zumwalt Acres, a regenerative agriculture community. This initiative takes place in Sheldon, Illinois, and seeks to restore soil and combat climate change while strengthening their local community. By applying to Boost, Zumwalt Acres hopes to gain funds to provide stipends for a cohort of farm apprentices to teach young folks about land stewardship. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Gavi. And I'm her sister Remy.
We are the 6th generation of the Zumwalt family farmers on this land. For as long as I can remember, corn and soy has filled all the fields around us for hundreds of miles.
In the span of a couple generations, industrial agriculture has stripped rural communities like ours of thriving ecosystems. Conventional farming is one of the leading contributors to climate change, emitting greenhouse gas and toxic pollutants into our air and waterways, while producing food that is low in nutritional value.
We believe that sustainable farming can generate nourishing food products and effective climate change mitigation. Policymakers, researchers, farmers, and the broader public are realizing that smarter farming is a key pathway towards maintaining a livable planet.
This summer, after years of hearing stories of our dad's dreams to start a perennial farm on this land, we realized it was time to actualize our vision. We took to our family farm and transformed it into Zumwalt Acres, a regenerative agricultural initiative in Sheldon, Illinois. What does regenerative agriculture mean? It means that we are dedicated to restoring the natural health of the soil and to combating climate change. We focus on 3 big ideas: raising food-bearing trees in an agroforest, turning farm waste into carbon-capturing fertilizer called biochar, and improving soil management practices. These changes will allow us to create a cost-effective, carbon-negative model farm, and by using scientific approaches to demonstrate the immense economic and ecological benefits of sustainable farming, we can be leaders in the future of Midwestern agriculture.
We love our soil and trees. We know that they are our first defenses against environmental catastrophe. So instead of degrading the land and clear-cutting forests for conventional farming, we're replanting native trees, shrubs, and other perennial plants. Our food-bearing trees will draw huge amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, especially compared to annual crops like corn and soy. Besides capturing carbon, the practice of growing trees for food and fodder, known as agroforestry, will reinvigorate native ecosystems by restoring the soil and providing habitats for wildlife.
We also repurpose agricultural leftovers like tree prunings, nutshells, and corn husks to make biochar by burning them in a controlled fire. Mixing the high-carbon charcoal with soil and compost transforms it into an organic soil amendment that nourishes the next generation of crops. Once buried in the soil, biochar stores carbon for thousands of years, while enriching the soil and promoting plant growth.
While our project addresses global environmental challenges, we also strive to empower local farm communities. By working alongside farmers who have been managing this land for years, we will build a framework for regenerative, cost-effective farming that is transferable to other farms in the region. We are creating a space for young farmers to learn and practice a form of agriculture that addresses the crises facing our generation head-on. So far, we have received funding and support from Yale University, Washington University in St. Louis, and University of California, Santa Cruz. We also collaborate with the Savannah Institute, a regional agroforestry nonprofit. We have begun to build relationships with leaders in agriculture research and education, including the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign and the United States Department of Agriculture.
The Boost Grant will take us to the next level and ensure our longevity. Our next apprentice teams will be arriving in the spring and summer. The Boost Award will be used to fund these teams as they plant trees, make biochar, grow food, and demonstrate what the future of farming can look like. We host teams of 6 to 10 apprentices who live and work on the farm. Our apprentices are people who are passionate about growing food as a way to restore ecological sustainability and environmental justice. We are building a center of learning that inspires young people to steward the land and breathe life into farming communities across the Midwest and beyond. We are working to design a self-sustaining business model to cover the costs of living at Zumwalt Acres. But in the meantime, funding from this grant will be used to provide stipends for the next team of farm apprentices. It is critical to offer a stipend to ensure an apprenticeship program that is accessible to all and fairly compensates individuals for their work.
You can help us support our apprentices and transform Midwestern agriculture by ranking us as your top choice for your vote. Thank you so much for your support.
And there you have it, everyone. What amazing pitches from our 4 finalists. We hope you're all virtually applauding like Carly and I and thinking about which of these incredible organizations you'd like to support. As a quick recap, we had Chicago environmental educators who want to bring environmental resources to all educators. Dynamhex that uses technology to map carbon footprints and reduce emissions. Mycocycle that uses fungi to divert waste from landfills and eliminate harmful toxins. And finally, we had Zumwalt Acres that is working to restore soils and instill responsible agriculture practices across the Midwest. We are so proud of these 4 finalists, and they are all deserving of our support. In order for your voice to be heard and our Boost winner to be selected, we need you to cast your vote. Anyone who is registered for the Boost event on Delta's website is eligible to cast a single vote via ranked choice voting. Go ahead and follow the voting instructions on your screen to help make one of these green entrepreneurs' dreams come true. Voting will remain open until Sunday, November 15th until 11:59 Central Time. Anyone who registers for the Boost event from now until then has time to cast their vote. So if you're having a hard time like me thinking about who you want to vote for, you have a couple of days to do it. If you're able, please consider sharing news of this event within your networks so we can help spread the word about these green entrepreneurs and help them get as many votes as possible. Feel free to stay tuned as we will have a live Q&A with our 4 finalists. Do you have any lingering questions about how any of this technology work or how any of these folks got their ideas? Stick around to ask your questions after the show. On behalf of the Delta Institute, the Dells, and each of our finalists, we really appreciate you joining to support sustainable innovation and entrepreneurship. We can't wait to see which of these organizations will get a boost in 2020. Stay tuned for our winner announcement on Tuesday, November 17th. Until then, thank you again for your concern and your support for our environment.
Thank you.
Thank you.